which allowed the opposition in the Denver Nuggets to chip away at the lead. But again, when you talk about Josh Okogie, and Matthew, I might change my tune a little bit on this one.
Hey, Joe. Where you going with that gun of yours?
So I think tonight is the first night where I actually am starting to agree with Matthew. So there's this debate that we have consistently over the past couple weeks about who should be the fifth starter for the Phoenix Suns. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it because, Brandon, I'd love to get your point of view on this. Everyone who's been on the show over the past week, I've gotten their point of view on it, from Gavin from the Aussie Suns Fan Podcast to Coach Evan B from the He's on Fire podcast. I want to get their point of view. And I'll explain my bias clearly at the end of this. So I believe that Josh Okogie should be part of the second team unit because he is one of the worst catch and shoot 3-point shooters on our team post All-Star break. He's shooting about 31% on catch and shoot threes, whereas you have TJ Warren and Terrence Ross, who are both plus 40% plus catch and shoot 3-point shooters. So why not, from a starting standpoint, put one of those guys with the starting five, knowing that the gravity of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton will pull their defenders away from them, and they are just going to be doing catch and shoot threes. Tonight is the first night where I go, and Matthew is of the thinking, no, J.O. should be in there, right? And tonight's the first night that I was kind of thinking, you know what, maybe Matthew's right. And it's not because Josh Okogie went 4 or 5 from beyond the arc. It's because of what I saw from TJ Warren with the second team unit, which I mentioned earlier, that I really think that his ability to rebound, to score, is more valuable to that unit than I think Josh Okogie's defense would be. And I think Josh Okogie is a first team unit guy, is that you need that fuck shit up guy on your first team unit, and he is your fuck shit up guy. So what are your thoughts on that, Suns Geek?
That's an incredible question, and I don't know if this is a good problem to have or a bad problem. And I'm trying to say this as positive, as positive as I can. Is this truly like the Phoenix Suns' weakness, like having a Josh Okogie, for example, beat you? You know what I mean? Because he had 4 threes tonight. Yeah. I mean, you guys remember the Dallas game? Ish Wainwright pretty much saving us in the fourth quarter.
Because Okogie was 0 for 8.
Exactly. And this goes back to the bench talk, man. And I'm telling you, like, when the bench gets going and all that, but like, I will say this, if Josh Okogie wants to be that fifth starter, and I would be open to that. I'm kind of torn in between him and Torrey Craig right now. And I've also talked about this on my channel, but I just think Josh Okogie has to be a little bit more consistent. I'm not saying he has to give you 14 points on 4 made threes every single game, although that would be very nice, but just being a little more consistent from those corner threes. Because we all know what he does on defense. We talked about the offensive rebounding, yada, 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 but being just a little more consistent night in and night out. And that goes really for her entire team, man. I don't really know if that answers your question necessarily. And again,
it sounds like you're on the fence, right?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I was just going to say, Matthew kind of talked about Torrey Craig earlier and like getting sent to the bench and how he plays a little different. Like, they're going to have to adjust to this, and we're going to need more games. And this is why I wish we had like 10 extra games to figure this out, man. That would be amazing because we could see what a Torrey Craig is going to be like off the bench or whatever the case may be. But I'm honestly torn because both of them deserve to be a starter. But I think it also goes back to the matchup talks that we talked about. I mean, do you start a Josh Okogie in the first round against, I don't know, let's say the Clippers, for example. But what about the Nuggets series if we play them? And I don't know. I really don't know.
So like Natalie and Bruglia, you are torn. Matthew, where are you at on this?
You know what? If it's the matchup thing, man, Monty better not do that. Because we just got done talking about how these guys have to adjust coming off the bench, and they really do. If Monty's going to go one series and play Craig, and then the other series play Okogie, that's just going to mess it up. I don't remember one time this year where Okogie went into a game, and I'm like, oh, look at the mismatch. That guy definitely has the advantage over Okogie. It's never happened, dude. Okogie can hold his own against anybody, unless it's like a big center, of course. He can hold his own against the longer, lanky guys, the bigger dudes, the little quick ones. Like he can make sure that he should hold his own spot in the starting lineup. And if Monty wants to do matches based on size, that's going to screw it up. I think Okogie has to stay there. Craig needs to get used to it, like I said, because during the year he had to get adjusted again after he was starting. So if he's going to do that and then maybe throw TJ in there and TJ is just like off, it makes a big difference, man. Especially if Chris Paul is always talking about like, yeah, if I'm coming out of the game at a 6-minute mark or playing the whole first quarter, that is huge for me. It takes me time to get used to that. You don't realize that it does sitting here watching, but when they actually say it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? It's a whole routine for them, and Okogie can do it. He can basically hold his own against anybody, but offensively, what he does, and even defensively, obviously, he gives us just extra opportunities, right? Drawing charge, grabbing the rebound, just the little things that he can just like get a quick turn in the momentum. But also, like, if this team's rolling, it's like, oh, here's an extra possession for you, right? Okogie got it for us. Like, he's that guy. He's like the extender. I always talk about the extenders off the bench where they'll come in and extend the leads, but this guy just gives our offense more opportunities to put the ball in the hoop. And I think that's exactly what this first team offense is looking for. So don't fuck it up, Monty. Like,
yeah, agreed.
And let this bench right now, what I'm looking at, it looked terrible the whole game. Obviously, it finished terrible. But I'm like, just leave it and let them kind of mesh together and let Payne fuck it up on his own or whatever. And just let them deal with it. Let them figure it out. Don't mess with the starting lineup.
Well, and I think that at the point we're at in the season, Monty's shown us what he's going to do. It's J.O. And I think part of me morphing to this mindset, if you will, is because I'm accepting that this is what it is. And it's not the wrong answer. Because the other thing that J.O. definitely gives you with the first team, and I've talked about this, maybe you put the offensive guy out there so you jump on him quick, and then it's all about who finishes the game, right? But even in that capacity, you take a look at some of the potential matchups, right? Let's say that we have to play this Denver team in the second round. J.O.'s on Jamal Murray all day long.
Oh, yeah.
J.O.'s going to be our Mikal Bridges. Okay? Yeah. Mikal Bridges has turned into Kevin Durant out in Brooklyn, scoring 42 fucking points tonight.
On like 50
he scored 42
shooting.
He scored 42 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And you got Josh Okogie's turned into Mikal Bridges in turn. So it's just like it's everybody wins.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like this is the way it is though, as a Suns fan. I mean, you want him to succeed and have fun over there and win, but do you really want to see him become an all-star and stuff? I'm just saying, this sucks, but we have Kevin Durant.